Welcome to the Root Water Drop channel. Thank you for joining us and sharing positive energy with us. In this video, the Root Drop deeply explores the philosophy of self-reliance from the ancients, revealing how to cultivate inner strength and courage to live independently without being overly dependent on others. You will be guided through ancient teachings, illustrated with modern examples and specific practical exercises. If you are looking for a path of self-development, balancing between connection and self-reliance, this content is the compass to clear your mind and awaken your motivation. We will present the meaning of independence according to the ancients and its importance in modern life, methods for identifying strengths, managing emotions, finances, and time to foster independence. Inspirational story demonstrating the journey from dependence to independence. Practical advice, small steps you can take today to increase your independence and confidence. How to balance self-reliance and constructive cooperation, maintain harmonious relationships without losing yourself. Please click like if you find it valuable. Leave a comment sharing your self-reliance experience and click subscribe to the Origin Drop channel so you don't miss out on a series of videos on life philosophy, classic lessons, and daily application practices. Don't forget to click the bell to receive notifications when there is new content. If you want to refer to more documents or discuss in more depth, see the link in the description or join our community. Let's join the Root Water Drop to sow the seeds of inner strength and cultivate knowledge, so that each small drop of knowledge spreads great value. Self-reliance is the key to success journey back to yourself, in the journey of self-discovery and happiness the ancients taught. If you want to fly high, you must first learn to stand on your own 2 feet. Self-reliance is not only the ability to take care of yourself in everyday life, but also an inner attitude, a manifestation of courage, confidence, and wisdom. When we know how to rely on ourselves to the necessary extent, and at the same time, connect harmoniously with the community, happiness and success will be more genuine and profound. This article will explore ancient teachings, why self-reliance was considered the key to success by the ancients, how to nurture the ability to be self-reliant, and how to balance self-reliance with community connection to build a harmonious, prosperous life. The concept of self-reliance in ancient philosophy. Self-reliance, in ancient language, is not simply understood as doing and taking care of all personal activities by oneself. At a deeper level, self-reliance is also a state of mind, clearly recognizing one's own value, knowing how to take responsibility for one's own actions and decisions, not relying on luck or depending on others to guide one's life. Self-awareness and self-responsibility. The ancients often emphasized that each individual must clearly understand the essence within themselves, know their strengths and weaknesses, and proactively practice and adjust. When encountering failure, do not blame, but examine yourself and learn from experience. When successful, do not be arrogant, but know how to be grateful. Nurturing inner strength. In Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, inner strength is considered the foundation for overcoming challenges. Self-reliance helps us build a strong inner energy, clear intelligence, enduring willpower, and compassion and patience with ourselves and others. Why did the ancients consider self-reliance as the key? 2.1. The power of self-control. When we are independent, we control our own lives. The ancients saw that if we depend too much on others, our lives can easily be disrupted by their will and emotions. Self-control helps us maintain psychological balance, avoiding strong fluctuations when life's storms come. For example, a person who relies too much on family, friends, or external affections, when those connections change, through distance, loss, or misunderstanding, the mind will easily fall into confusion and disorientation. Meanwhile, an independent person knows that happiness does not depend entirely on external factors, but first and foremost comes from a strong inner attitude. 2. Independence and creativity. The ancients believed that only when we are independent can we have the space to think independently and creatively. If the purpose of life is to follow the prejudices, the beaten path, and the predictions of others, it will be difficult to develop our own potential. Independence encourages us to face challenges, find solutions, and broaden our vision. Modern. Illustration. A successful artist, entrepreneur, or scholar must dare to be different, to take responsibility for his or her own ideas and path. Self-reliance is the guiding light of this process. Arouse. Cultivate humility. Interesting point. Being independent does not mean being arrogant or isolated. On the contrary, when we are independent, we are often more aware of our own limitations, thereby easily feeling and appreciating the contributions of the environment around us. The ancients used self-reliance to practice humility. We try to learn and solve problems by ourselves, but are also open to receiving outside opinions when really needed. Philosophical example. In Taoism, man first looks inward, then interacts harmoniously with all things. In Confucianism, the gentleman first cultivates himself, then is selfish for society. Self-reliance is the starting point of true humility. Provisions to nurture independence to turn the teachings of the ancients into reality, we need the right internal and external resources. Here are the specific aspects. 1. Ability to recognize self-worth. Mindful self-inquiry. Regularly ask yourself, what do I really want? Where are my strengths and weaknesses? This requires being honest with yourself, accepting your imperfections. Keep a reflection journal. Every day or every week, record your feelings, achievements, and failures. Through this, you can gradually identify recurring behavioral and emotional trends and find ways to adjust them. Set personal goals. Based on your understanding of yourself, set short-term and long-term goals. Goals should be clear, achievable, and flexible so that when circumstances change, you can adjust without losing direction. 2. Practice self-management skills. Time management. Learn to prioritize, allocate time for studying, working, resting, and socializing. An independent person usually respects his own time and other people's time, avoiding unnecessary procrastination. Personal financial management. Save, invest carefully, and plan your spending. The ancients did not specifically teach stock investment, but the spirit of caution and alertness before all resources was always emphasized. When we are financially independent, we reduce our burden and anxiety. Emotional management. Independence requires the ability to self-regulate emotions, knowing how to recognize, process, and transform negative emotions. Practicing meditation, mindful breathing, or relaxation techniques help strengthen your inner spirit. 3. Building awareness of community connections. Maintain healthy relationships. Being independent does not mean being lonely. On the contrary, when we are independent, we know how to appreciate each relationship in its proper place, supporting each other when needed, but not relying on each other too much. Giving and sharing. The spirit of independence but not closed-mindedness is demonstrated through the willingness to share knowledge, experience, and help when possible. This both strengthens personal strength, because giving often creates inner happiness, and builds a community of mutual support. Know how to rely on, selectively, when facing challenges beyond current capacity. Dare to seek professional support or advice from trusted people, but after consulting, still proactively make the final decision, holding responsibility for the results. Evidence from tradition and old stories. 1. Ancient story. The blacksmith and the sword. The story is about an ancient blacksmith. He learned from nature, metallurgy, the sound of fire, and forged his sword step by step. He did not rely on high technology or the hands of others. Instead, he carefully observed, experimented, and learned from his mistakes. The result was a sword that was not only sharp, but also contained his creative spirit and brave efforts. Lesson. The process of learning to be independent requires patience, repeated experimentation, and accepting mistakes as an essential part of learning. 2. Ancient story. The Zen master travels alone. the story of a wandering Zen master experiencing all kinds of life, hunger, cold and deprivation, peace and comfort. He did not rely on external guidance but observed his own mind, learning to adapt to the circumstances. Through each experience, the Zen master accumulated wisdom and compassion, and then taught others with his own tested qualities. Lesson: Self-Reliance. In the spirit of spiritual practice is self-dialogue, self-examination, and self-harmony with the universe, before wanting to connect deeply with others. Challenges in raising independent children. Fear of failure and loneliness. Many people are afraid to be independent because they fear failure without an external support. Sometimes the feeling of loneliness when shouldering personal responsibilities makes them turn back to find a safe place to rely on. Solution: realize that failure is a valuable experience. The ancients often compared failure to a storm testing, a rotten wooden leg. If our inner self is strong enough, we will not collapse but become stronger. About loneliness. Being independent does not mean being completely alone. We can still maintain social connections, but with a proactive and calm attitude. 5.2. The trap of pride. If misunderstood, independence can lead to arrogance, thinking that you do not need support or listen to other people's opinions. This can easily cause conflict and miss opportunities to learn. Solution: always remain humble, comparing your views with the facts and opinions of others. See the invitation to share as an opportunity to compare and complement, not as a threat. 3. Balance between individual and community. Being too attached to the idea of independence can make us close ourselves off from the community. Conversely, being too dependent on outside relationships can also make us lose our independence. Solution: clearly define the scope of independence, areas that we can completely take care of ourselves and areas that require cooperation. Establish an internal contract. When needed, we will be ready to ask for help, but then still proactively take final responsibility. Methods of practicing independence in modern life. Build a habit of self-study. Read and research. Select reliable materials on your area of interest. Learn from books, e-learning resources, and online courses. Set yourself a goal of learning a new topic each week, summarizing it, and taking notes. Practice soft skills. Practice communication, manage small projects, and give presentations. Independence here means proactively seeking opportunities to practice, joining a volunteer group, personal projects, or trying out new roles at work to learn. 2. Practice financial self-determination. Create a personal budget. Track income and expenses. Predict future expenses and build up a reserve fund. When you understand your financial situation, you don't have to rely too much on others to help you through a crisis. Invest in knowledge. Before deciding to invest, learn carefully. Create a network of mentors, but then analyze and decide for yourself. Be independent in your consumption. Think carefully before shopping. Avoid following trends or social pressure. Mental and physical training, meditation, and mindfulness. Take time every day to observe your mind. Self-reliance here means being aware of your emotions and thoughts without depending on external influences. Exercise regularly. Learn to take care of your body. Eat a balanced diet. Exercise properly. When your body is healthy, your mind is also strong, helping you confidently face challenges. Self-care. When under pressure, find ways to relieve stress. Write a diary, listen to music, compose, or talk to someone you trust, but still actively maintain emotional balance. 4. Develop a purposeful support network. Choose your partners. Cooperate with people who have similar visions and values, but the relationship is established on the spirit of independence. We do not rely on each other, but support each other to develop together. Learn from those who have gone before. Refer to the experience and advice of experienced people, but always have your own considerations. Do not accept blindly, but consider and adjust to suit your personal circumstances. Practical tips to foster a spirit of independence. Start your day with an internal question. How do I want to be independent today? What goals do I want to take on? This sets the tone early on. Set small weekly challenges. For example, host a small internal presentation, learn a new skill you've never tried before, or plan a personal project. Acknowledge achievements and failures. When you complete something, praise yourself. When you fail, acknowledge the lesson and don't let your mind get too hurt. Practice responsible independence. When making decisions, visualize the consequences and commit to taking responsibility. This spirit helps us respect ourselves and others, connecting personal goals to the common good. When self-reliance is directed toward the common good, e.g., implementing social projects, sharing knowledge for free, motivation is reinforced, and actions are more meaningful. Self-control in communication. When communicating, state your point of view clearly, but also listen sincerely. Self-control in communication means not being easily swayed by flattery or crowd pressure, but still knowing how to adjust to build lasting relationships. Remain flexible. While being steadfast in your goals, be willing to change them as new information becomes available. Independence is not about being stubborn, but about making confident choices and then being flexible in adapting. Long-term benefits of living independently: calm mind before events. When inner strength is strong, we are not easily shaken by ups and downs. Like a tree with deep roots before a storm, the mind is not easily broken. Ability to create opportunities. Self-reliant people often see and seize new opportunities without waiting for opportunities from the outside. They proactively learn and make smart connections to realize ideas, self-respect, and credibility. When we are always responsible for our words and actions, the community around us trusts and respects us. This credibility further strengthens the ability to cooperate and develop long-term harmony between individual and society. Independence helps us build a solid personal life, so that when we contribute to the community, we do not fall into exhaustion or dependence. Living independently and helping others becomes a meaningful exchange, spreading love. Part 2. Controlling emotions. Inner strength to maintain harmonious relationships. Opening. Listening to the breath of the soul, in the journey of independence and self-improvement, the ancients not only taught us to stand firmly on our own 2 feet, but also guided us on how to master our minds. Amidst the myriad of emotions, especially when anger arises, if we do not practice, we can easily let our emotions dominate, causing harm to our relationships and ourselves. This section revolves around the art of controlling emotions, especially anger management, to maintain harmony, cultivate understanding, and nurture sincere sympathy. The nature of emotions and the location of anger emotions are the whispers of the soul, reflecting our needs, values, and personal boundaries. When conditions around us are not as we want them to be, or we feel threatened, real or imagined, anger erupts like a fire, initially warm and protective. But if left unchecked, it can burn relationships and destroy our inner strength. Anger is like a siren. It warns us that something has gone beyond our tolerance. But the siren is not meant to call for hasty action, but to attract our attention and invite us to calm assessment. Deep roots. Anger often arises when values or expectations are violated. Disrespectful words, unintentionally hurtful behavior, pent-up pressure. Understanding the root cause helps us not only extinguish the external fire, but also deal with the burning wood hidden inside. Why do we need to control anger? 2.1. Maintain a sustainable relationship. When anger leads the way, words and actions can easily become harsh and hasty, leaving wounds that are difficult to heal. The ancients always encouraged, words are like the wind, they can gently soothe, but they can also sweep away trust. Control means not stifling emotions, but choosing a wise way to express, keeping the connection still respected and listened to. 2. Protect mental and physical health. Prolonged anger increases stress, nervous tension, negatively affecting the immune system, sleep, and general health. When we know how to control ourselves, our mind is stable, Positive energy is maintained and the body benefits from a state of serenity and balance. 3. Maintain personal reputation and prestige. In business and life, relationships develop based on trust. If an individual often lets anger control him, promises are easily changed, actions are unpredictable, partners and friends will be wary. On the contrary, people who know how to control their emotions show maturity, reliability, making others feel secure when cooperating and sharing. Recognize the signs of rising anger. Before you hold back, you need to recognize the signs early. Physical symptoms: increased heart rate, tense muscles, rapid breathing, hot face. When we see this signal, we get a warning. Anger is starting. Silent thoughts. The mind revolves around thoughts of criticism, resentment, the desire to respond or counterattack. Preparatory behavior. Intending to speak loudly, yell, or show contempt or ignorance. If not stopped at this stage, the impulsive action will follow soon after. Steps of self-control and transformation. Pause. Mindful breathing. When you notice signs of stress, pause any hasty reactions. Stop talking, stop acting. Take a deep, slow breath, focusing on your breathing to step back from the negative scenario. It's like a strong wind at sea. When the boat faces the wind head-on, the sails can tear. But when you know how to adjust the angle and stay calm, the boat can still sail. Practice. Close your eyes, if appropriate, and focus on each inhale and exhale for a few seconds. Each breath is an opportunity for the mind to calm down and rebalance. Point 2. Observe emotions. Ask wise questions. Once you've calmed down, ask yourself, what's really making me angry? What fear, hurt, or expectation is behind the anger? Introspection helps us separate the original emotion from the impulsive reaction. Tip: keep an emotional diary. Write down your events, feelings, and desires. Seeing the written word helps you be more objective. Point 3. Energy redirection. Once anger has been recognized, find ways to channel that energy into positive action. Physical exercise, walking, yoga, light jogging. Help relieve stress, regulate brain chemicals, and take the mind out of the vicious cycle. Creative activities, journaling, painting, playing music, or meditating can be a peaceful outlet for intense emotions. Constructive conversation. When the heat has cooled, we can choose to talk to the person involved, using the language "I feel pro when" to express without accusation. This way maintains respect and helps the other person understand our perspective. 4. Set smart boundaries. Boundaries do not mean unconditional acceptance of hurtful situations. When we find that relationships or situations frequently trigger anger, we need to consider limit communication. If a conversation is getting emotional, it's okay to suggest a pause until both parties are calmer. Limiting actions. In a work or family environment, if someone is consistently crossing respectful boundaries, we need to firmly defend our values by proposing new rules, agreements, or reducing unnecessary contact. This helps to keep calm and reduces the frequency of confrontations. Illustrated through ancient stories and modern examples. Ancient story: The Holy King and the Wise Man. The story goes that a hot-tempered king often got angry for no reason, scaring his courtiers. A wise man came to him and taught him, "When you are angry, rest in the Zen garden, listen to the sound of falling leaves, and observe your breathing." The king obeyed, and gradually understood that it was a calm state of mind that helped him make wise decisions and win the hearts of his people. Lesson: an inner pause is more powerful than a rebuke. Restraining anger does not weaken authority, but rather honors wisdom and leadership qualities. 2. Modern example: conflict in a team in an urgent project. Member A complains about the quality of B's work. B feels threatened, and anger arises. If A reacts quickly and speaks harshly, the conflict will escalate. Instead, A pauses, makes a private appointment, and says, "I see that the results are not up to expectations. I want to understand your difficulties and work together to find a solution." This approach de-escalates the situation, encourages cooperation, and improves overall efficiency. Lesson: use restraint to pave the way for honest dialogue and collective solutions. Challenges in practicing emotional control. Pressure and reaction habits. In stressful environments or when you are used to being online, it is difficult to change immediately. You need to practice each small step and not blame yourself when you stumble. 2. Misunderstanding about patience, restraint does not mean silent suffering and unconditional forbearance. If misunderstood, we can accumulate resentment silently, which over time will cause it to flare up more violently. We need to make a clear distinction. Silence is for the purpose of reflection and wise action, not for the sake of humiliating ourselves in the face of injustice. 3. Lack of self-observation skills. Many people do not recognize the signs of anger rising because they are not used to paying attention to their body and mind. Practicing mindfulness, keeping a journal, or seeking support from a coach, or counselor can help increase self-awareness. Methods of training emotional control. Regular mindfulness meditation. Spend 10-15 minutes each day sitting quietly, focusing on your breathing or environmental sounds. Gradually, your ability to recognize emotions as they arise will strengthen. Keep an emotions journal. After each stressful situation, write down what happened: events, emotions, reactions, outcomes. Over time, looking back at your journal can help you recognize patterns and improve your responses. Practice active silence. In communication, when you feel yourself getting carried away, take the initiative to gently interrupt. Let me think for a moment. This small action helps change the trajectory of your emotions. Practice positive self-talk. When you're angry, instead of letting negative thoughts dominate, "He's so rude," switch to constructive questions. What could make this situation less stressful? What more could I listen to? Exercise to reduce stress. Yoga, qigong, gentle exercise help balance the nerves. A healthy body supports a peaceful mind. Learn. Through scenarios and simulations, imagine difficult situations and practice responding rationally. In groups or with a mentor, practice role-playing to master responding calmly when the real thing happens. Build a habit of giving constructive feedback. Instead of criticizing, practice saying, "I appreciate your efforts. I see some things that could be improved. Let's discuss them together to achieve better results." This approach minimizes conflict and fosters collaboration. Benefits of mastering self-control skills: strong relationships. Friends, colleagues, and partners trust and respect your feelings, creating a safe space for communication. Clear decisions. When emotions are not involved, we make clear choices based on reason and core values. Gentleness of mind. Less regret after anger. Calm mind and ready to move towards solutions instead of getting stuck in resentment. Enhanced personal credibility. People who can stay calm are often highly regarded for their leadership, conflict management, and creative problem-solving abilities. Developing inner strength. Each time we successfully control ourselves, we train our mental muscles, helping our inner strength become more resilient against storms. Part: respecting others. The foundation of connection and understanding. Opening. A journey of connection with an open heart in the picture of life. Respecting others is the delicate stroke that creates harmony and warmth. When we practice respect and sincere listening, each conversation becomes a solid bridge leading to understanding and trust. The ancients compared relationships to flower gardens. If planted with a precious attitude and cared for with all their heart, the garden will be fragrant. On the contrary, if indifferent or careless, the flowers will easily wither. This section will explore in turn the concept of respect, its importance, how to identify it, how to practice it, illustrations from the past to the present, challenges and solutions, as well as the profound benefits of placing respect as the foundation of all relationships. 1. The concept of respect in communication and relationships. Respect is not just about being polite on the outside, but is an inner attitude, cherishing the value and right to exist of each person, regardless of differences in views, circumstances, and positions. Respect is like a gentle light. When we maintain a respectful attitude, it is like shining a warm light, helping the other person feel their own value, thereby opening up to share. Listening is like a melody. Listening is not just about being silent and waiting to speak, but also about being calm and accepting every word, every emotion hidden in language, gestures, and nuances. This is the art of deep connection, allowing us to see the soul behind the words. Why is respecting others key? 1. Sowing the seeds of trust. When we respect others, they feel secure and accepted without fear of judgment. From there, trust gradually forms. In work or life, relationships based on trust help smooth cooperation, sharing ideas and overcoming difficulties together. Building a foundation of harmony. The world is colorful. Each individual has his or her own perspective and experience. Respect helps us accept differences, creating a harmonious foundation for cooperation instead of conflict. Like a river flowing through many lands, if the undercurrent is suppressed, it can easily flare up at a narrow bend. Respect is the way to let the flow be gentle and natural. 2.3. Unleash creative potential. When communication environments are safe and respectful, people feel confident expressing new ideas and experimenting with different perspectives. This fosters creativity and innovation. Conversely, if they are judged or belittled, initiative is easily stifled and organizations or communities struggle to thrive. 2.4. Building a strong personal image. A respectful person always leaves a mature, sympathetic, and professional impression. In business and social relationships, this is a catalyst that opens the door to cooperation, sincere and lasting connections. Identify respectful and listening behaviors. 1. Signs from respected people. Pay attention. When the other person speaks, they raise their head, look into your eyes, and don't interrupt or scroll through their phones. Their sincere eyes are like a mirror reflecting, "I am here spending time with you." Non-judgmental attitude. They do not rush to conclusions or judgments. Instead, they take the time to consider and understand the context and reasons behind their words or actions. Constructive feedback. When responding, they use gentle words that respect the other person's feelings. "I understand how you feel. I want to share my perspective, hoping to find a solution with you." Acknowledge differences. Instead of imposing their views, they recognize that each person has their own life journey, which may be different from their own, but is no less valuable. 2. Signs of disrespect, interrupting or cutting in. When someone else is expressing themselves, we quickly interject with the intention of asserting our priority. This makes the other person feel ignored. Personal attacks. Instead of focusing on the problem, personal criticism hurts relationships and causes them to falter. Listen to refute. Listen, but only to find openings to attack, instead of truly understanding and supporting. Contempt. Words or gestures that show contempt or disregard for another person's values or experiences. Practice of respect and listening. Active listening. Positive silence. When someone shares, don't rush to respond. Be silent long enough to let them express themselves fully. This silence conveys the message, "I respect and care about what you think." Ask open-ended questions. Instead of asking, "Why did you do that?" ask, "Can you share more about the reasoning behind that decision?" Open-ended questions. Encourage the other person to open up more deeply and feel understood. Reflect and summarize. After listening, summarize the main points in your own words. "If I'm not mistaken, you're saying that." This helps ensure correct understanding and shows the other person that you're paying attention. 2. Subtle communication. Choose your words wisely. Use "I" instead of "you" when expressing your opinion. "I feel" instead of "you did wrong," which helps reduce the feeling of being attacked. Tone of voice. Speak softly, with moderate emphasis, not hastily or loudly, showing respect and calmness. Positive body language. Nodding when empathizing, keeping an open posture, uncrossed arms, calm eyes, a slight smile when appropriate, makes the other person feel safe to share. 3. Handling conflicts with respect. Pause when emotions run high. When a conflict arises, if you feel angry or frustrated, pause the conversation and suggest reschedule for another time when both parties are calm. Acknowledge other perspectives. Use the phrase, "I understand your point of view even though I may see it differently," to show respect for differences, then analyze together to find common ground or a neutral solution. Find common ground. When in dialogue, skillfully bring out common goals, common interests, common values to lay the foundation for cooperation, instead of deepening differences. 4.4. Daily practice. Start with small things. Greet politely, keep appointments, say thank you when someone helps you, apologize when you make a mistake. These seemingly simple things help cultivate the habit of respect. Observe and learn. Notice how respected people behave. They listen, ask questions, keep confidentiality when necessary, and communicate honestly. Observe and then adjust your behavior. Self-reflection. After every important interaction, ask yourself, did I truly respect and listen to the other person? Is there anything I can improve? Record your feelings to gradually improve. Illustrations from tradition and modern examples. Ancient fairy tale, The Teacher and the Student. The story is about a good but arrogant teacher who often scolded his students when they made mistakes. One day he met a wise man who guided him. When students make mistakes, listen to the reason and guide them slowly, like gentle rain nurturing the seeds. The teacher changed, listened to each student's thoughts, respected the learning process, and made the students work hard and be excited about learning. Lesson: respect does not take away authority, but rather increases engagement and effectiveness in teaching. 5.2 Modern example. Managers and employees in a business. When employees propose new ideas, a manager who listens, encourages, and even takes the risk of experimenting, employees feel appreciated and dare to be creative. On the contrary, if ideas are rejected outright without explanation, employees easily become discouraged and lose motivation to contribute. Lesson: respect opinions even if you disagree, explain why, and encourage further contributions. This builds a culture of creativity and trust. Challenges and overcoming strategies. Giọt. Cultural and attitude differences. In a multicultural environment, values and behaviors may differ. This can easily lead to unintentional misunderstandings. Strategy: understand cultural background, listen to others' opinions, avoid imposing personal standards. When disagreeing, discuss gently, be curious instead of judging. 2. Work pressure. In time when we are busy, we tend to rush and lose patience, which leads to disrespectful communication. Strategy: set aside a small but focused time for each important conversation. If you can't do it right away, ask for a time to reschedule so you can listen fully. Skillful time management helps maintain the quality of the interaction. 3. Old habits and negative reflexes. Many people are used to reacting quickly and find it difficult to change in a moment. Strategy: practice mindfulness to recognize emotions as they arise, using the technique of pausing before words or actions come out. Practice consistently and evaluate your progress. The long-term benefits of respect and listening. Strong relationships. From family to colleagues, friends, and partners, when respect is the foundation, all parties work together to overcome challenges, fostering trust and sincere affection. Creative and innovative environment. In organizations or communities, respect inspires the courage to experiment and share breakthrough ideas without fear of criticism. Comprehensive personal development. When we listen to others, we learn from multiple perspectives, broaden our vision, and enhance our empathy. This is an important factor in leadership and subtle communication. Lightness and happiness. When we practice respect, our surroundings are less conflicted and our minds are more peaceful. Harmony creates joy in interactions, making each day more meaningful. 6.2. Lack of clarity about sharing limits. We may not know what information needs to be kept strictly confidential and what information can be shared. Solution. Always ask the person sharing directly. How much privacy do you want? Who can you share with if you need support? This helps clarify the scope and avoids misunderstandings. 3. Digitalization and the risk of leakage data is easy to copy and transfer. Solution. Apply technical security measures, use strong passwords, encryption, software, limit storage on public platforms. At the same time, maintain the habit of deleting or locking when not needed. 4. The conflict between secrecy and transparency. In some circumstances, confidentiality may conflict with the need for transparency, for example in an organization when explaining to a group. Solution. Balance the need to keep sensitive information private but share enough to ensure collective trust. For example, disclose only general principles, not details that could have a major impact, or announce that the company is looking into an issue but cannot yet release final results. Being direct while maintaining appropriate confidentiality builds lasting trust. Long-term benefits of keeping secrets wisely. Strong trust. Personal and professional relationships thrive when people know you are a safe place to share their secrets. Prestige and honor. The image of a loyal person spreads, helping us to be chosen for important projects and respected in communication. Balanced communication. When we know how to keep secrets but still share at the right time, the relationship becomes harmonious. Not too closed, but also not ostentatious. About personal matters. Maintain competitive advantage. In the business environment, keeping strategies in secret helps businesses maintain their position. At the same time, employees see that their leaders have vision and feel secure in their dedication. Develop a sense of responsibility. Keeping secrets is an exercise in discipline and responsibility. Every time we refuse to share something that is not useful, we are practicing self-management and honoring the commitments we have made. Conclusion and call to action. Keeping secrets is not a silent burden, but a journey of considering and appreciating the value of trust. When receiving something private, accept it with compassion and a sense of responsibility. This information is precious, I will keep it carefully. In every word and action, choosing to protect secrets is a choice to build the foundation for a lasting relationship. Word of encouragement. Every time you say no to sharing something unnecessary, you are writing a page of your own reputation. Smile proudly at that maturity because it is the mark of someone who appreciates and shares properly. Specific action. Today, when you think back to a private sharing, ask yourself, did I keep it secret? Was there a time when I accidentally revealed it too soon? Take note and learn from the experience so that next time, you can practice keeping secrets more skillfully. Part. Don't spread fear. Wisdom in sharing information. Introduction. Seeds of peace. Amidst the storm of news, in the noisy world of news and media, every word, every share can plant a seed in the listener's soul. When we unintentionally or intentionally convey negative, confusing, or unverified information, the recipient's heart is easily disturbed. Fear can sprout, taking root in thoughts and daily life. The ancients once said, "Words are like the wind. When good, they can dispel clouds, but when bad, they can easily carry storms." This section focuses on the art of not sowing worries, how to share information wisely, protect others' souls from unnecessary worries, and contribute to maintaining peace in the community. The concept of sowing worry and not sowing worry. Sowing fear. When we spread rumors, negative information, or share pessimistic predictions without solid evidence, we are planting seeds of fear in people's minds. These seeds can grow into long-term anxiety, worry, and even reduce their positive energy and ability to take proactive action. Fearless. The art of sharing responsibly, considering the consequences before spreading information, being cautious about unverified information, and prioritizing reassurance or constructive advice over panic. This is a caring attitude that respects the feelings and psychology of others, keeping the community steadfast in the midst of chaotic information. 2. Why is avoiding fear-mongering important? Point 1. Protect mental health. When anxiety is constantly creeping in, people are prone to falling into a state of prolonged anxiety, insomnia, stress, and even depression. If the surrounding environment is filled with unfounded negative information, it will negatively affect the psychology of individuals and groups. Sharing information responsibly helps reduce psychological burden and fosters peace and clarity. 2. Keep the faith and motivation. When people constantly hear about pessimistic outcomes or exaggerated risks, they easily become discouraged, lose faith in the future, and lose the will to act. On the contrary, if we know how to choose reasonable information, balancing both positive aspects and reasonable warnings, listeners stay motivated, ready to face challenges with strong inner strength. 3. Building a harmonious community, a society, or group that spreads unverified negative rumors can easily lead to division, suspicion, and conflict. On the contrary, selective sharing, encouraging verification and caution can help strengthen the bond and trust among members and work towards positive solutions. Identify situations that are likely to cause anxiety. Rumors and news spread. On social networks, when we see shocking content, sensational headlines, or unclear sources, if we rush to share, we may be spreading fear. Identify. Does the information cite reliable sources? Is there evidence, valid data? If not, that's a sign to stop. 2. Pessimistic forecasts are not reliable. In work or life, when we hear predictions about economic, environmental, or health crises without official basis, if we spread them as truth, others can easily fall into needless anxiety. We need to consider who made the prediction, on what basis has it been verified by experts. Personal chat to flirt with worries in everyday communication. When someone shares their worries about a personal issue, if we rush to share a negative perspective or suggest the worst-case scenario, we are sowing more anxiety. Instead, we should listen, empathize, and only share if we have solutions or real information that can help reduce their anxiety. The practice of not sowing worries. 1. Verify information before sharing. Reliable sources. Only share information from reputable sources with evidence, data, or experts cited. When unsure, clearly label it unverified or advise the listener to check further. Ask thoughtful questions. Before you hit the share button, ask yourself, is this information true? What impact will it have if it goes viral? What is my purpose in sharing it? If in doubt, stop or add a warning that it needs to be verified. 2. Share the same solution or balanced perspective. Include a recommendation for action. If the information warns of a risk, e.g., health, safety, include practical advice or a reference to an expert so that the listener is not just concerned but knows how to respond. Positive-negative balance. When mentioning the negative or risk, also mention the positive or controllable aspects. For example, the situation may be difficult, but if we plan and prepare, we can overcome it. 3. Listen and empathize before sharing your opinion. Listen fully. When someone shares their concerns, don't rush to make a judgment. Listen to understand the root of the concern, then share information or perspective from that foundation. Ask supportive questions. Instead of saying, "Don't worry," ask, "What specifically are you worried about? What have you tried to solve it?" This helps them better identify the problem and find a solution themselves. 4. Respect privacy and context. Don't force information sharing. If someone doesn't want to hear more details or recommendations, be respectful. Everyone has the right to choose what information they want to share. Choose the right channel. In public, avoid posting content that causes panic. If you need to discuss privately, choose a private, discreet space and with someone who is truly responsible or knowledgeable. 5. Practice emotional self-control when receiving negative news. Don't spread it in a fit of emotion. When you read shocking news that makes your heart race or makes you angry, take a breath and pause before sharing. Allow yourself to calm down and verify. Keep an emotional news diary. Record your reactions to negative news to recognize the tendency for emotions to spread, and practice pausing before acting. Illustrations from tradition and modern. Examples 5.1. Fairy tale, The Forest Keeper and the Rumor. The story is about a sacred forest where villagers tell stories of disasters if anyone destroys the forest. Someone accidentally adds scary details without any basis, causing the villagers to panic, abandon their fields and run away, missing their crops. When the truth becomes clear, it is just an old legend. Trust is broken, and losses have occurred. On the contrary, if the forest keeper only shares properly, explains the reasons for protection and how the community can participate, people will sympathize and act responsibly. Lesson: spreading unverified information can cause panic. Share carefully, with solutions to help the community cooperate and stay safe. 2. Modern example: misinformation in social media. When a rumor about a medical product spreads without verification, many people worry, panic, refuse to use it, or arbitrarily use unsafe methods. Informed people know how to not sow fear and will share official sources from experts, advised to check medical information at reputable facilities, thereby reducing public confusion. Lesson: personal responsibility in spreading health information or disease prevention recommendations can save lives or prevent crises. 3. At work, sharing project risk forecasts. If a team member hears about a potential risk in a project without a clear analysis, sharing it can cause widespread concern. Instead, gather data, discuss it with a team of experts, and then present the risk with a mitigation plan. This approach is professional, not sowing fear, but rather focusing on solutions. Lesson: communicating risks based on evidence and with solutions helps teams feel confident and proactive. Challenges and overcoming strategies. The pressure to share quickly in the digital age and the trend of hot news, people are easily urged to share immediately so as not to miss the beat. Strategy: establish a digital pause. Before sharing, take a few minutes to check the source or wait for feedback from an expert. Make it a habit to slow down in the midst of a constant stream of information. 2. Curiosity and the feeling of wanting to be the first to know. People are curious and want to share hot news, but if the news is not verified, we can easily cause panic. Strategy: aim to share value, not share quickly. Before sharing, ask yourself, will this share help others understand the reality or just satisfy my curiosity? 6.3. Lack of information analysis skills. Many people do not know how to evaluate the reliability of sources or check data. Strategy: practice basic research skills, check sources, compare multiple sources, and consult experts when necessary. Learn to read headlines and content to distinguish between sensational and factual news. 4. The conflict between sharing and keeping silent. Sometimes we want to share to warn others, but are afraid of causing panic. Strategy: when you feel the need to warn, be prepared with factual information and specific advice on what to do. For example, there is news about risk X. Experts say the probability is as follows. You can do A, B to mitigate. Further verification is in progress. This demonstrates responsibility and does not create unnecessary panic. Long-term benefits of not spreading fear-stable community psychology. When people know information often comes from responsible sharing, they feel more secure, reduce stress, and increase positive energy. Personal trust and credibility. People who regularly share carefully are trusted, become reliable sources of reference, and reinforce a professional and humane image. Deep connection. By not sowing fear, we create a safe environment of communication where people are willing to share honestly and find solutions together. Improve decision quality. Correct information and solutions help individuals and organizations make informed choices, not being led by unfounded anxiety. Promote positive creativity. In an environment that is not overwhelmed by excessive anxiety, new ideas have the opportunity to develop. People dare to experiment and overcome challenges without being restrained by fear. Conclusion and call to action. Not spreading fear doesn't mean avoiding the issue altogether, but rather taking a smart approach, verifying information, considering context, sharing solutions, and listening to others' feelings. Whenever you hear or read unverified news, stop, verify, or take notes before passing it on. When talking to someone who is anxious, don't judge, listen, and then provide solid information or encourage them to learn more instead of inflaming fears. Word of encouragement. Every time you take the time to be cautious before sharing potentially disturbing information, you plant a seed of peace in someone else's mind. Be proud of this thoughtfulness, for it is a sign of respect and responsibility. Specific action. Try this now. When you encounter negative news or rumors, before sharing, take the stop and verify step. Look up the source, ask an expert, or at least include an unverified notice. Record your feelings and experiences so you can act more wisely next time. Heart positive attitude, a light in the storm. Prologue. Dawn in the challenging dusk in life's journey. Difficulties and challenges are like rugged hills, but a positive attitude is a glimmer of light that guides us, helping us not to lose ourselves. The ancients often compared optimism to a ray of sunshine breaking through thick clouds. Even when hardships are covered, there is still hope. In this section, we will explore the concept of a positive attitude, why it is essential, how to identify an unoptimistic mindset, methods to cultivate a positive spirit, illustrations from tradition and modern practice facing challenges, and the long-term benefits of keeping our hearts always turned toward the light. The concept of positive attitude in ancient and modern contexts. A positive attitude is not just a superficial smile when facing difficulties, but a proactive mindset that seeks value, lessons, and opportunities in adversity. In ancient philosophy, optimism was associated with the belief in the harmonious operation of the universe. All things change in cycles. After darkness comes dawn. In modern times, a positive attitude also includes the ability to adapt, persevere, and be flexible, looking at problems from many angles, turning pressure into motivation to learn. Proactive spirit. Don't wait for circumstances to change, but find ways to adjust your thinking and actions. Belief in solvability. Believe that every challenge can be understood and overcome, no matter how difficult the path may be. Long-term vision. Look beyond the moment of crisis, imagining the positive outcomes that can be achieved through our efforts to change. Why is maintaining a positive attitude important? 2.1. Enhance the ability to overcome difficulties. When facing adversity, a pessimistic mindset can easily lead to discouragement and early giving up. On the contrary, an optimist finds ways to turn things around and tries many different paths to solve the problem. 2. Psychological stability and mental health. Optimism helps reduce stress and limit long-term anxiety. When we believe that everything will find a way, the brain secretes more positive hormones, supports sleep, boosts the immune system, and improves quality of life. Spread positive energy in the community. An individual's positive spirit spreads like a breeze. Colleagues, friends, and family feel it and easily foster a positive attitude. When a group works together with an optimistic mindset, the effectiveness of cooperation and creativity is higher. 4. Building a strong image in business or leadership. People who maintain a positive attitude even in storms are considered a pillar of strength, creating trust for everyone around them. They inspire and keep the group united. Recognize signs of negative thinking. 1. Focus on failure instead of lesson. When something unexpected happens, we only pay attention to the negative results, blame ourselves or the situation, without finding out the cause, wasting the opportunity to learn from experience. 2. Unrealistic or overly pessimistic expectations either set goals too high, easily disappointed when not achieved, or predict the worst from the beginning, leading to avoidance of effort. Comparing yourself unfavorably to others. Comparison is stressful. If you only see other people's achievements and see yourself as lacking, you will easily feel depressed, instead of seeing it as an inspiration to learn. Hasty reactions, impatience when faced with a small obstacle, get frustrated or give up instead of pausing, reflecting, and adjusting. Methods to cultivate and maintain a positive attitude. 4.1. Practice reframing. When faced with a difficult situation, ask yourself, what lesson does this teach me? Is there an opportunity in the corner? Reframing helps shift your thinking from I failed to I am learning something new. For example, a delayed project can be viewed as an opportunity to review details, refine plans, and strengthen team relationships, rather than as a failure. 2. Keep a gratitude journal and small achievements. Gratitude journal. Write down at least one thing you appreciate every day. Your health, your loved ones, small moments of joy. When you focus on the positive, your mind gradually gets used to looking at good things. Achievement journal. Record progress, no matter how small. Completing a reading, learning a new skill, overcoming a fear. Looking back over time will help you see your progress and stay positive. Set achievable goals and break them down into step-specific and flexible goals. Identify small, measurable steps. As you complete each step, you feel a sense of accomplishment and are motivated to continue. Flexible adjustment. When circumstances change, do not panic, but see it as a signal to adjust goals or methods. Keep a positive flow instead of being lazy or 4. Practice mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness. Observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. When anxiety arises, recognize it as a natural reaction, then bring your mind back to the present moment, avoiding getting caught up in the vicious cycle of pessimism. Energy meditation. Spend time in silence, focusing on your breathing or surrounding sounds to recreate inner peace and cultivate a lasting positive attitude. 5. Build an active support network. Choose your companions. Surround yourself with optimistic, enthusiastic people, share ideas, and overcome difficulties together. Their positive energy spreads and encourages you. Share and learn. When faced with obstacles, openly discuss them to gain constructive perspectives. Avoid a general pessimistic attitude in the group, but instead find ways to work together to find solutions. 6. Physical and mental self-care. Exercise regularly. Exercise helps relieve stress and increases happy hormones. When the body is healthy, the mind is more likely to stay positive. Healthy entertainment. Read inspirational books, listen to soft music, participate in art or nature activities to recharge positive energy. 7. Learn from other people's failures. Study. Success stories. Read about how they overcame difficulties. Realize that the road to success is often bumpy. What matters is perseverance. Mistake analysis. Look at mistakes not to be afraid, but to understand the nature of the problem and prepare better for the future. Illustrations from tradition and modern examples. Ancient story. The sage crosses the stormy sea. The story is about a sailor who encountered a fierce storm. In his cabin, the wind howled and the waves rose high. Instead of panicking, he turned his heart to a profound meditation. The wind and the waves rise. It is only a test of the vast sea. Overcome it, the boat will reach the safe shore. This thought helped him command the sailors to calmly steer, adjust the sails, minimize the fire, and finally reach the safe shore. Lesson: a positive attitude at heart creates leadership power and stabilizes the group in adversity. 2. Modern example. Businesses changed direction in crisis. A company that had relied on a service was suddenly disrupted. Instead of panicking, the leadership immediately convened the team, Assess the situation and set a new strategic direction. Digital transformation. Finding additional markets. With an optimistic but realistic attitude, they not only weathered the crisis but also discovered opportunities for expansion. Lesson: optimism combined with practical action helps turn danger into opportunity. Personal story: student perseveres through failure. A student who repeatedly fails important exams is likely to lose motivation. But when he changes his mindset, sees each failure as an opportunity to understand his weaknesses, find a different way to study, set small goals step by step, and finally, overcome and achieve success. Lesson: a positive attitude toward learning. And perseverance helps turn failure into a launching pad. Challenges in maintaining a positive attitude and how to overcome them. Negative information overload. In the digital age, bad news can easily cause mood swings. Solution: choose your information intake wisely. Limit your reading time, prioritize reliable sources, and incorporate constructive perspectives. Intersperse with inspirational content. 2. Pessimistic environment. When many people around us complain or are skeptical, it is easy to be influenced. Fix. Set energetic boundaries. Spend time with positive people. Join groups, activities that encourage optimism. When necessary, avoid overexposure to negative thought streams or approach with an empathetic but selective attitude. 3. Deep-rooted negative habits. If you are used to getting discouraged when faced with difficulties, changing your thinking. Habits requires persistent effort. Fix. Start with small habits. Keep a gratitude journal every day. Practice asking, what's the opportunity in this challenge? I practice consistently, track your progress, and praise yourself for taking small steps. 4. Pressure to succeed quickly. Expecting instant results is likely to lead to disappointment. Solution: see progress as a long journey. Set medium and long-term goals. Accept step-by-step progress. Be happy with each step, not just the final result. Long-term benefits of keeping a positive attitude: maintain inner strength. A positive attitude creates abundant mental energy, helping us to persevere in the face of storms. Improved social relationships. People are more approachable and cooperative with people who radiate positive energy. Relationships become fun and mutually supportive. Creativity and innovation. In a positive atmosphere, thinking is easy, experimenting with new ideas without being too afraid of risks. Comprehensive health, peace of mind, healthy body, reduced stress, good sleep, clear mind. Forming a positive culture. In an organization or community, when individuals spread an optimistic attitude, a common environment gradually forms that strengthens the spirit of mutual support and development. Part: avoiding useless arguments. The art of solution-oriented dialogue opening. A melody of differences in the picture of communication. Controversy is like a low note that can create dramatic depth, but if it turns into meaningless noise, it will obscure the melody of cooperation and creativity. The ancients taught, speak to understand, not to win. Avoiding useless arguments is not avoiding dialogue, but choosing a wise way of behaving when facing disagreements, oriented towards solutions and learning from differences. This section will unveil the concept, reasons, identification, methods, illustrations, challenges, and benefits of avoiding getting caught up in useless debates so that every dialogue has a meaningful development. The concept of useless argument and constructive debate, pointless debate. A conversation where the main goal is to prove I'm right, the other person is wrong, using rigid arguments, lacking respect, often leading to tension, wasted time, and missed opportunities for cooperation. The result is rarely understanding or creativity, only emotional wounds and distance. Constructive debate. A process of respectfully discussing differences with the goal of exploring multiple perspectives, finding common ground, or at least understanding the reasons behind opposing opinions. In constructive debate, all parties are willing to listen, adjust their positions based on evidence and sound reasoning. Why is it important to avoid unnecessary arguments? 1. Save energy and time engaging. In fruitless arguments drains our mind and energy, leaving us exhausted, unproductive, and unmotivated. When we choose to avoid them, we free up resources for finding solutions or creating new ideas. 2. Maintain a sustainable relationship. Unconscious arguments often weaken trust and feelings between parties. On the contrary, when we know when to stop and maintain respect, the bond is preserved, helping to maintain a sincere connection. Expand your horizons and learn. Avoiding conflict doesn't mean ignoring differences, but rather approaching new information with an open mind. When we don't stubbornly defend our point of view, we have the opportunity to see aspects we hadn't thought of, learn, and adjust. 4. Create a culture of cooperation. In a group or organization, when each individual learns to restrain his or her passion for futile competition, the atmosphere of cooperation increases. Initiatives are shared easily, and overall productivity is improved. Recognize the signs of a useless argument. Unclear or negative purpose. When both sides start a conversation with a focus on winning or finding fault with each other, rather than working together, it signals a futile argument. 2. Emotional reactions overwhelm reason. If anger, frustration, or disappointment quickly arise during a conversation, causing words to become aggressive or unfinished, the exchange can easily slip into meaninglessness. True. Use of big language words that imply sarcasm, criticism, insults, or stereotypes, always, never, show disrespect and are not receptive. 4. Repeating old arguments without achieving new results. When both sides keep repeating the same arguments without new evidence or references, the debate becomes an endless cycle with no progress. Methods to avoid useless arguments and move towards solutions. Control your emotions before engaging in discussion. Pause and breathe. When you notice a tense emotion, stop reacting quickly and take a few deep breaths to calm down. This will help you avoid making impulsive statements. Identify the underlying need. Ask yourself, what do I want from this conversation? Is it understanding, connection, or being proven right? When we are clearer about our constructive needs, we can steer the conversation in a positive direction. 2. Switch from argument to reason. Ask probing questions. Instead of saying you're wrong, ask, can you share more about the basis for that view? I'd like to understand more. Questions create space for information exchange, avoiding personal conflict. Acknowledge valid points. When you hear something helpful from the other person, acknowledge, I see what you mean. Here. This does not diminish your authority, but demonstrates openness and fosters a spirit of cooperation. 3. Share your views with evidence and specific examples. Cite facts or data. When expressing an opinion, use specific experiences, figures, and examples to support it instead of subjective opinions. This helps the discussion be based on reality, reducing the risk of unfounded arguments. Limit judgment. Focus on the problem, not on the individual. For example, the project results were not satisfactory, maybe because process A was not optimal, instead of you did it wrong. 4. Find common ground and common goals. Identify common goals. Reiterate the desired outcome. We all want the project to be successful. When everyone has a common goal, it's easier to compromise and cooperate. Appeal to collective interests. Instead of competing for personal views, aim for the common good. If this improvement is made, both the team and the customer will benefit. 4.5. Propose solutions instead of criticizing. Share specific options. After discussing the cause, offer a suggestion or action plan. We can try method B to fix the problem. Invite constructive input. What if we tried? Is there another way we haven't considered? This encourages input rather than expecting a one-sided response. Know when to stop, recognize when you can't move forward. If after a gentle exchange you still can't reach a consensus and begin to feel tense, suggest a pause. Can we stop here, look at some more information, and then continue? Remain respectful when withdrawing. A pause doesn't mean giving up, but rather a pause for reflection. Keep your words friendly. Thank you for sharing. I need more time to think so we can continue to be productive. Cat. Listen to feedback. And self-adjust. Ask for feedback on communication. After a discussion, ask, how did I go? Was there anything you found confusing? This helps improve communication skills and avoids unnecessary arguments later. Self-reflection. Take note of any moments when you almost get into a pointless argument. Learn from the signs and how to avoid them next time. Illustrations from tradition and modern examples. 4. The old story. The Zen Hall and the controversy. There is a story about two disciples arguing about the meaning of a sutra in the meditation hall. The argument lasted for a long time, disturbing the tranquility of the group. The Zen master stepped in without judging who was right or wrong, but led them to sit in silence, repeating the main purpose. Zen is not about arguing about reasons, but about discovering the tranquility within oneself. Through the shared silence, both realized that arguing was useless when their hearts were not at peace. Lesson: when the primary goal is deep understanding, silence and contemplation can be more effective than heated debate. 2. Modern example. Professional seminar. In a workshop, experts had different opinions on research methods. Instead of arguing loudly, the moderator asked an open question. What are the advantages and disadvantages of each method? When combined, how can we compensate? From there, the team analyzed and compared, drawing out new directions for coordination or experimentation, instead of just affirming that this is right, that is wrong. Lesson: move from personal debate to constructive professional exchange, leading to effective collaborative solutions. True. In daily life, sharing family views, spouses or friends sometimes have different views on parenting or family planning. If one partner is too rigid, it can easily lead to arguments. Instead, sit down and listen respectfully. Acknowledge each other's concerns and wishes, and then find a middle ground. We both care about our child, so let's try this for a while and see how it goes. Lesson: avoid pointless arguments by emphasizing common goals and proposing practical testing. 6. The challenge of avoiding unnecessary arguments and how to overcome them. Pressure to defend personal views. When opinions are tied to honor or profit, we are more likely to oppose differences. Solution: identify the value behind the viewpoint, security, recognition, achievement. Once you understand the need, you can tailor the way you express it. For example, sharing. This viewpoint is important to me because, what do you think? This reduces confrontation. 2. Environment that stimulates intense debate. Some cultures or groups enjoy arguing to assert their position. Fix. Establish rules for conversation, respect each other, prioritize solutions, and limit attacks. If you're a leader, set an example by asking more questions and acknowledging valid points. 3. Lack of active listening skills. If we don't listen well, we can easily miss the signal to divert from the argument. Solution: practice active listening. Focus without interrupting. Reflect back main ideas, ask open-ended questions. This helps reduce conflict and creates an environment for effective communication. 4. Feeling helpless when not winning an argument. Some people feel at a disadvantage if they don't get the right deal. Solution: change your perspective from win-lose to learning together. See every exchange as an opportunity to gain a different perspective. When you feel like you're learning something new, the feeling of losing will give way to the excitement of learning. Long-term benefits of avoiding pointless arguments, harmonious relationships. Personal and professional networks have less conflict, increasing cooperation and mutual trust. High work efficiency. Time and energy spent on solutions instead of conflicts. increasing speed of action and quality of decisions. Develop problem-solving skills, the ability to analyze differences, find common ground, and propose multidimensional solutions is enhanced through each constructive exchange. Increased creativity. When people are not afraid of being attacked, they are more likely to share new ideas, leading to innovation and breakthroughs. Peace of mind and confidence. Not stressed by useless arguments, light-minded, confident in facing opposing opinions without losing your cool. Conclusion and call to action. Avoiding pointless arguments is not about avoiding conversation, but about choosing the path of meaningful dialogue, listening, respect, sharing evidence, and finding solutions together. When you feel like the conversation is about to spiral into an endless right-wrong cycle, pause, switch to probing questions, or ask to continue when you have more information. Every time you stop arguing pointlessly, you build a solid foundation for cooperation. Encouragement. Take pride in your ability to navigate the conversation. Instead of launching into an attack, you quietly ask for more, acknowledge valid points, and build on them. This is a sign of maturity and respect for others. Specific action. This week, when you encounter disagreements, at work or in life, stop and try this method. Self-control of emotions, asking probing questions, finding common goals, and proposing solutions. Record the experience. What works? What needs improvement? Gradually, you will form the habit of constructive dialogue instead of useless debate. Part: Self-study and self-development. The journey of constant improvement. Introduction. Seeds of knowledge sow the future in the garden of life. Each person is a potential seedling of life. Self-study is the act of sowing the seeds of knowledge and skills in the soul, while self-development is the act of fertilizing and cultivating the tree so that it grows and reaches higher. The ancients looked up at the vast sky and advised people to constantly open up their inner strength through learning and self-improvement. Knowing that learning never ends, we persevere on that path like a tireless traveler. This section will explore with you the nature and importance of self-study, how to identify the need for development, practical methods, illustrated through ancient and modern stories, facing difficulties and how to overcome them, the lasting benefits, and then conclude with a call to action and suggestions for the next steps on the journey of inner strength. The concept of self-study and self-development, self-learning, is not just about reading books or taking courses, but about taking the initiative to learn, discover new things, ask questions, experiment, and learn from experience. Self-learning is in every moment. When we are curious to learn about the unknown, when we observe the world to learn lessons from experience. Self-development is a comprehensive process, from professional knowledge, soft skills, critical thinking, to attitude, mental, and physical health. It is not just about absorbing information, but also about transforming knowledge into action, adjusting habits, nurturing qualities to become an increasingly stable and useful version for the community. Why is continuous self-learning and self-development essential? 1. Adapting to a changing world. The world is changing rapidly in technology, society, and economy. People who do not study will be left behind, have difficulty keeping up with trends, and easily lose opportunities. Self-study helps us maintain flexibility, ready to receive new knowledge to adjust our personal direction. 2. Unlocking personal potential. Each person has different potential: creative talent, analytical thinking, communication skills, etc. Self-study helps us discover our strengths, find our passions, and nurture them. When we develop in the right direction, we live more meaningfully and contribute great value to society. Building reputation and personal value. People who are proactive in learning demonstrate a spirit of progress and responsibility for themselves. At work and in the social environment, they are highly appreciated, trusted, and easily receive opportunities for advancement. This prestige comes not only from knowledge but also from the attitude of respecting learning and sharing. Or, increase quality of life and happiness. When we learn to understand ourselves, practice skills to manage emotions, health, finances, life becomes more complete. Personal development leads to a sense of confidence, peace of mind, and joy when seeing progress every day. Identify development needs and goals. 3. 1. Self-assessment of current situation. Identify your strengths. Make a list of the skills, knowledge, and qualities that you feel confident in. This is the foundation for continuing to develop or combining new skills. Identify weaknesses. Accept your limitations. Lack of skills, bad habits, outdated knowledge. Looking straight at yourself is the first step to setting appropriate learning. Goals. Assess contextual needs. Consider the work environment, industry trends, personal goals, career, health, relationships, creativity, etc. From there, determine the field of study to meet the requirements and develop sustainably. 2. Set learning and development goals. Specific, measurable goals. For example, in 3 months, complete a basic foreign language course to communicate on your own while traveling. Or in 6 months, improve time management skills using Method X, reducing wasted time by 20%. Short-term and long-term goals. Break down the journey. Short-term goals motivate through early achievement. Long-term goals aim for a bigger vision. Adaptable. Goals can change as new circumstances arise or priorities change. Always be ready to update goals based on monitoring results and personal feedback. Self-study and personal development methods. 1. Learning through books, documents, and courses. Choose reputable sources. Find books, articles, and courses from authors or instructors with recognized expertise. When studying in depth, compare multiple sources to get a multi-dimensional perspective. Take notes and summarize. Don't just read. Take notes on the main points, summarize them in your own words, and then organize them into a mind map or short essay. This process helps the content absorb deeply and be memorable. Practice your knowledge. When learning a skill, try to apply it immediately in real life or create a test project. For example, learn programming. Program a small application. Learn marketing. Try to promote a personal idea. Learn cooking. Practice a new dish. 2. Learning through experience and observation. Challenge yourself. Put yourself in new situations. Take on a project outside your field. Try volunteering. Travel alone or in a multicultural environment. These experiences help you learn quickly about communication, adaptability, and self-evaluation. Observe and learn from great people. Find mentors or experienced role models. Observe how they work, make decisions, and manage challenges. Ask them about their development journey and the lessons they learned. 3. Soft skills development. Communication skills. Practice public speaking, active listening, and presentations. Self-study through seminar groups, speaking clubs, or soft skills courses. Time and project management skills. Apply techniques such as Pomodoro, prioritize to-do list, personal Kanban. Monitor performance and adjust gradually. Critical thinking skills. Question assumptions, analyze pros and cons, consider data and sources, avoid bias. Learn through group discussions or writing problem analysis papers. Emotional self-management skills. Practice mindfulness meditation, keep an emotional diary, learn to recognize and regulate stress. 4. Use of support tools and platforms. Online learning applications. Choose the right platform, e.g., technical skills, foreign languages, soft skills courses. Set a specific schedule and commit to completion. Learning. Communities. Join sharing groups, industry forums, book clubs, meetups. Interaction helps keep you motivated and expand your network. 4.5. Continuous self-assessment and feedback. Periodic assessment. Weekly or monthly, review progress. What was learned? What were the results? Where are the gaps? Get feedback from others. Ask mentors, colleagues, friends, or family for feedback on new skills or knowledge. Accept constructive criticism with an open mind. Adjust the plan. Based on evaluation and feedback, revise goals. Choose different approaches if needed. or enhance what worked. Illustrations from tradition and modern examples. 4. Old story. The persistent student. There is a legend about a student who diligently wrote down his teacher's words, but he did not just copy them. He often tried them out and debated with his teacher. When he failed, he did not get discouraged, but instead found other books and asked his seniors. Over the years, he became a sage, contributing new philosophies. Lesson. Continuous self-study, daring to ask questions and experiment is the source of creativity and sustainable development. 2. Modern example. Successful career change. An office worker felt that their job was increasingly unsuitable for their passion. Instead of complaining, they taught themselves graphic design skills through online courses, practiced on small projects, built a portfolio, and then moved on to a new industry. The process was time-consuming and challenging, but through perseverance and self-learning, they found success in their new career. Lesson. Personal development is about daring to accept change and learning to pursue your passion. Innovative. Startup stories. Young entrepreneurs start their businesses with creative ideas but quickly realize that they lack management knowledge. They proactively read books, participate in management training programs, find mentors, and exchange with the startup community. Thanks to continuous self-study, they adjust their strategies, overcome difficult times, and develop their companies steadily. Lesson. Learning by doing. Quick feedback and timely adjustments are the keys to weathering the startup storm. Challenges in self-study and how to overcome them. Sion. Lack of motivation and persistence. Exciting at first, then easily bored when results are not seen immediately. Fix. Break down your goals into smaller goals. Celebrate small accomplishments and find a study community to stay motivated. Keep a progress journal and remind yourself of the long-term implications. 2. Information overload and learning bias. The internet provides a wealth of information, making it easy to get lost in the information sea without knowing how to filter. A solution. Define your goals clearly before searching for materials. Prioritize reputable sources and limit your research time. Use the just-in-time learning method. Learn what you need to use in a specific job or project. 3. Fear of failure when trying new things. Fear of unexpected results makes us reluctant to approach new knowledge. Solution. See failure as a necessary part of the learning process. Stay curious. If we fail, we learn. If we get it right, we improve. Plan small-scale experiments to reduce risk. 4. Lack of quality feedback. Studying alone can easily lead to a lack of objective perspective on the process. Solution. Find mentors, study groups, and professional forums to share and receive feedback. Record and filter opinions, and keep an open but critical attitude to select useful suggestions. 5. Balance between study and rest. Continuous learning can easily lead to exhaustion and reduce learning efficiency. Solution. Make a reasonable schedule, alternating between rest, entertainment, and exercise. Apply the principle of sustained learning instead of forcing yourself to work continuously. Establish a regular study habit, but also respect your biological rhythm and mental health. Long-term benefits of persistent self-study and development. Strong inner strength. Increasingly deep knowledge and skills help us confidently face changes and challenges. Adaptability and creativity. When we accumulate many skills, we can flexibly combine and find new solutions. Being sensitive to trends helps us not to be left behind. Value-added networking. Learning communities, professional groups, and mentors not only provide knowledge but also create opportunities for collaboration and career development. Inner satisfaction. The joy of conquering challenges, discovering new things, and seeing yourself progressing creates deep happiness. Social contribution. People who are well-educated and know how to apply knowledge into practice will create value, solving community problems, spreading knowledge, and inspiring others to also embark on the journey of self-study. Conclusion and call to action. Self-learning and self-development is a journey that has no end. When we stop, the tree of inner strength will stop growing and will easily rot in the storm. Start today. Identify a skill or topic you want to explore. Find a reliable source to learn. Make a small plan and commit to practice. Record your progress. Accept failure as a valuable lesson. Seek feedback to adjust. Each day you add a little knowledge and experience. You are cultivating the tree of inner strength to grow taller and stronger. Words of encouragement. Every page you read, every failure you learn from, is like a drop of water that nourishes the EDO potential of the tree. Be proud of your steps, slow but steady. The path of self-study may be bumpy, but it is the mark of maturity and makes you a useful person to society. Specific action. Write down a short-term self-learning goal right now, e.g., complete a mini course or try a new skill this week. Share your goal with someone you trust for added accountability and motivation. Track your progress weekly and adjust as needed. Make each day a step on your journey to continuous personal growth. Part: Living according to the philosophy of truth, goodness, beauty. Creating a harmonious and humane life. Introduction. The dawn of value. In the inner sky, the three values of truth, goodness, beauty are like three guiding stars, illuminating every action, word, and thought. The ancients looked at life not only with dry reason, but with a delicate aesthetic eye and a loving heart. Truth is truth, goodness is compassion, beauty is beauty. When the three elements are in harmony, life becomes real, people become more connected, society becomes civilized and happy. This section will explore with you the profound meaning, importance, application methods in daily life, illustrating from tradition to modern practice, challenges and how to overcome, lasting benefits, then closing with a call to action and paving the way for the next step on the journey of personality. The concept of truth, goodness, beauty. Truthfulness. Not only is it objective truth, but it is also being honest with yourself and those around you. Truthfulness is demonstrated through being transparent in your words, honest in your actions, and recognizing the nature of a problem without hiding it. On the foundation of truth, relationships are built on solid trust, unshaken by doubt. Kindness. Is kindness, goodwill, and action for the common good. Kindness is not simply charity in the material sense, but also sharing, sympathizing, helping, and nurturing a sense of social responsibility. Kindness originates from compassion, seeing the suffering of others, wanting to lighten the burden and build happiness for the community. Beauty. It is a harmonious beauty, not only in form, but also shining through content. Beauty is expressed through a refined lifestyle, graceful speech, aesthetic actions, and appreciation of beauty in nature, art, and relationships. That beauty makes life gentle, calm, and inspiring. Why is truth, goodness, beauty the foundation of a civilized society? Building trust and transparency. When the foot is first, all interpersonal exchanges become transparent. People are not afraid to face the truth, even when it is difficult, because they believe that transparency leads to sustainable solutions. Sincere trust reduces suspicion and conflict due to misunderstanding and increases cooperation and engagement. 2. Nurture compassion and responsibility. Kindness encourages action towards others, turning love into concrete deeds, supporting when in trouble, sharing when in need, listening when sad. When the community nurtures kindness, peace, and prosperous cooperation are spread, forming the foundation for a fair and united society. Q. Arousing aesthetics and culture. America helps turn everyday life into a journey of enjoyment. From the way of presenting a cozy meal, decorating a simple space, to treating people politely and preserving nature. Living with aesthetics makes the soul light, inspires creativity, and appreciates the beauty around, from which civilized values are increasingly sublimated. 4. Harmonizing three values. Truthfulness does not go hand in hand with means. Goodness is not just a vague sentiment. Beauty does not stop at superficial embellishment. The three values combined harmoniously create a genuine life: warm compassion and subtle beauty, provisions for each individual and community to move forward in peace and prosperity. Identifying behavior and thinking to apply truth, goodness, beauty. 3.1. In speech and communication, truthfulness. Tell the truth but tactfully. Be honest when necessary. Don't lie or hide important information. When sharing difficulties or mistakes, admit it sincerely to find solutions. Kindness. Be constructive, not just narrative, but empathetic. When giving feedback, use encouraging language. Avoid harsh criticism. US. Maintain a gentle tone, respectful expressions. Use clear, rhythmic, and inspiring language. Choose expressive, figurative words to enhance the aesthetic appeal of your speech. 3.2. Inaction and decision truth. Rely on facts and reliable information to make decisions. Don't act on hunches or rumors. Kindness. Consider the impact on others and the community before acting. Choose a direction that benefits the whole, not just thinking about personal gain. American. Performs work with meticulousness and respect. For example, in creative work, attention to detail. In relationships, maintaining polite gestures, neat appearance, and a tidy, harmonious surrounding space. Tree. In thinking and inner self-truth, honest self-dialogue, recognizing real feelings, real needs, and not hiding fears or shortcomings. Kindness. Cultivate compassion for yourself and others. When you stumble, forgive yourself. When you see others in trouble, open your heart to help. America. Maintain a gentle mind. Appreciate beauty in every experience. Enjoy art, nature, culture. Maintain the habit of observing and appreciating beautiful moments, no matter how simple. Practical methods in daily life. 1. Practice authenticity, honesty journal. Record honest moments every day. When we are truly honest with others, or when we avoid the truth and its consequences. Through the notes, draw lessons to behave more transparently in the future. Be direct but tactful. Learn to speak the truth with respect. For example, when giving feedback, use "I notice" instead of "you are wrong" to maintain authenticity. And keep relationships strong. 2. Nurturing a good heart, small actions, big meanings. Help people in need. Listen to those who need to share. Share knowledge or time for community projects. These actions seem small but spread kindness and build a culture of sharing. Practice forgiveness and empathy. When you are hurt, instead of holding on to resentment for a long time, try to understand the cause and accept that people are not perfect. Forgiveness does not mean accepting the wrong unconditionally, but rather freeing yourself from the burden to continue the journey of kindness. Aesthetic applications in everyday life create a harmonious space. Arrange your workplace, room, and reading corner with soft colors and light to create a sense of peace. Be polite in your communication. Letters, emails, or text messages should be polite, with sincere opening and closing. When meeting in person, dress appropriately and have a friendly expression. Find beauty in nature and art. Spend time watching the sunrise, listening to soothing music, enjoying paintings or poetry, to balance your soul and inspire creativity. 4. Combining three factors in big decisions when faced with an important choice, e.g. career, project, relationship. Do truth. Gather information, evaluate reality, no illusions. Kindness. Consider the benefits for yourself and the community. Avoid harming others. USA. Choose an option that is both reasonable and elegant, showing formality and aesthetics in the way it is done, e.g., how to present a project, how to organize an event, how to celebrate a milestone. 5 illustrations from tradition and modern examples. Old story. The man who gave clothes to the cold in a poor village. A traveler saw another person freezing. He not only gave him a piece of cloth to cover his body, kindness, but also gently asked about his situation, truth, and meticulously wrapped the shirt with small decorations, beauty. to make the recipient feel warm and respected. This action touched hearts and became a legend of kindness. 2. Modern example. Humane business behavior. A company in crisis had to lay off employees, but still chose to be transparent about information, Chan, support career training and temporary ID benefits, Tien, and organize a formal farewell ceremony honoring the contributions of each person, Mai. This approach maintains the company's reputation and the community's trust despite difficult circumstances. Personal story. The artist lives authentically through his creations, an artist inspired by his own real experiences, recording his feelings, pain, and joy, true, through his work spreading a message of humanity about life, kindness, while maintaining a refined aesthetic style, harmonious images and sounds, beautiful. His works touch the viewer's emotions, evoking reflection and belief in the beauty of life. Challenges in balancing truth, goodness, beauty, and how to overcome them. The conflict between authenticity and saving face. Sometimes, telling the truth can hurt or make the listener lose face. Solution. Use tactful language, expressing sincerity and good intentions. I want to share this because I respect you and hope we can progress together. When the truth needs to be told, find the right time and way to protect the other person's self-esteem. 2. Good but easy to take advantage of. When doing good deeds without thinking, you may encounter people who take advantage of you or are irresponsible. Solution. Do good with a clear mind. Identify the limits of your ability. Choose appropriate and sustainable ways to help. Combine emotional support and self-help guidance. 3. America easily slips into a hollow form, focusing on appearance and creating a flashy appearance without truth and goodness will be seen as fake. Solution. Always start with truth, the real meaning, then combine goodness to make the action valuable, and finally use beauty to express it subtly. When the core is truth and humanity, the aesthetics will be more profound, not empty. 4. Social pressure and profit motive. In a competitive environment, it is easy to neglect values, choosing immediate practicality instead of truth, goodness, and beauty. Solution. Maintain personal value orientation. Regularly question yourself about the purpose and consequences of your actions. Build a community and partners who share your values. Be persistent, slow, but steady. Long-term benefits of practicing truthfulness, goodness, beauty. Building strong trust. Even in the face of challenges, when every action is based on authenticity, others trust and cooperate for the long term. Humane and united environment. Kindness spreads, creating a foundation for a caring and supportive community, reducing conflicts and fostering a spirit of mutual assistance. A life rich in inspiration and aesthetics. Beauty helps us to recognize the beauty in every moment, nurtures creativity and spiritual joy, making life's journey lighter and more meaningful. Sustainable development. When the core values are strong, all decisions and actions are long-term, not fluctuating with short-term waves. Society and organizations gain results that accumulate real value. Inner peace. Living authentically, doing good deeds and appreciating beauty helps the soul to be peaceful and confident in the midst of turmoil, thereby spreading positive energy to others. Conclusion and call to action. Living by the philosophy of truthfulness, goodness, beauty is a journey of self-listening, self-training, and self-giving of value. Let's start with each small action. Speaking sincere words, helping someone relieve their suffering, decorating the work corner with harmonious light and color, or simply taking time to enjoy the beautiful scenery around. Each step is like a melody that evokes a humane melody, cultivating a civilized and happy society. Words of encouragement. When you dare to live authentically, give kindness, and appreciate beauty, you not only build your own inner strength, but also add warm colors to the community picture. Be proud of every moment you apply truth, goodness, and beauty, because that is the intact mark of a heart and mind in harmony. Specific action. Today, choose a situation where you usually avoid the truth. Try speaking sincerely and with good intentions. Or when you have an opportunity to help, act immediately with an open heart. At the same time, take care of the surrounding space or greet with beauty. Record the experience, the feeling inside you, and the response from others. Gradually, you will see the truth, goodness, and beauty gradually permeate into the way of life. Please click like if you find it valuable. Leave a comment sharing your self-reliance experience and click subscribe to the Origin Drop channel so you don't miss out on a series of videos on life philosophy, classic lessons, and daily application practices. Don't forget to click the bell to receive notifications when there is new content. If you want to refer to more documents or discuss in more depth, see the link in the description or join our community. Let's join the root water drop to sow the seeds of inner strength and cultivate knowledge so that each small drop of knowledge spreads great value.